is a live presentation of CBC Sports.
For the second time in Canadian Football League history, the City of Winnipeg is site of the title match, the Grey Cup game. The Hamilton Tiger Cats have had their share of Grey Cup heroes. Formed in the late 40s, the Calgary Stampeders are the winningest team of the 90s. Today, we present the greatest Grey Cup ever, the 1989 game, through the perspective of those who played and coached at that game in Toronto.
The excitement of the game, the newness of the dome, the Saskatchewan fans, it was just in my life, that'll go down as one of my best days.
And we'll take you to the Countdown Fan Club, where Mark Lee and Chris Walby talk Grey Cup with the quarterbacks. The fan favorites are chosen. We'll meet Walby's Warriors and see the plays of the year, all in the midst of a party atmosphere. It's Grey Cup Saturday, live from Winnipeg on CBC. It is just afternoon local time. We are live at Winnipeg Stadium. Weather, not a problem. It's right around freezing. Should be above freezing tomorrow. At least temperature-wise, it's not a problem. But the winds right now are absolutely howling. Look at that flag in the goalpost. The good news is they're not out of the north. These winds are out of the south. But both teams concerned about the winds come Sunday afternoon. Speaking of the north, we now move from the south end to the north end of Winnipeg Stadium. There is our host location for Grey Cup weekend. Good afternoon, I'm Brian Williams. Welcome to Winnipeg and our coverage of the 1998 Grey Cup. Couple of program notes for you people. The actual kickoff tomorrow afternoon is at 4 Central Time, that is 5 Eastern. Our pregame show begins tomorrow afternoon, 2:30 here in Manitoba, 3:30 in the Eastern Time Zone. Big afternoon today. We're on the air for the next 5 hours. Let's show you the menu for this afternoon. Hey, we're in Winnipeg, so our Olympic buddy Peter Jordan is back. The fans voted the best ever game. You will see Hamilton at Saskatchewan. Glenn Suter and Steve Armitage will update both Calgary and Hamilton. The Countdown Fan Club, Chris Walby and Mark Lee from downtown Winnipeg in a nightclub talk to players and fans. And the man that I believe is the best ambassador this league has, Mike Pinball Clemens, will join me live here in the studio. Speaking of live right now, let's take a look out behind me. The Calgary Stampeders are still on the field. They're due to stay on the field till about 12:30. That's in about 25 minutes from now. Hamilton Ticats and head coach Ron Lancaster are due on the field here in about 55 minutes from now. Speaking of the field, and they'll keep us up to date this afternoon, let's head out to the field behind me, and we say good afternoon to both Glenn Suter and Steve Armitage.
Thank you, Brian. You're absolutely right about the wind. It is coming out of the south, and they say it's supposed to be a warmer wind. Don't you believe it? And it is gusting over 40 kilometers per hour. So if we kicked off right now, it would be a problem for both quarterbacks, Glenn. Just looking at the Calgary practice, it seems a little less physical than yesterday.
Yeah, the physical preparation is now over, Steve. Now it's a chance for both teams to focus mentally. This is a walkthrough practice this afternoon, and they have to get their heads into the game. One of the keys, I think, will be in this football game is which team can control that emotion. They're going to be pumped up. In the case of the Calgary Stampeders, specifically in quarterback Jeff Garcia, Jeff Garcia's strength is the fact that he is an aggressive quarterback. He likes to go at it. He has never started in the Grey Cup game. This is his first start. It'll be a long night for him. He has to control his emotion. The good news for the Calgary Stampeders is backup Dave Dickinson. The Calgary Stampeders insurance policy is now healthy. I talked to him during the week. He said he really wasn't ready to play in the Western Final, but the extra week has allowed him to strengthen that injury, and now he's ready to go should Jeff Garcia falter.
Watching both Jeff and Dickinson throw the ball, they don't seem to be having that great a problem.
No, I don't think it'll be that big a deal. It depends on how strong the wind gets, but will remain to be seen how strong this wind gets. Both quarterbacks can win, though.
When Ronnie Lancaster and the Hamilton Ticats take the field, there are a number of players we'll be looking closely at. Paul Osbaldiston, you remember he was on the bottom of the pile after that tremendous celebration in the Eastern Final in Hamilton last week. He hurt his knee. He's been kicking well all week. Watched him close yesterday. Didn't seem to have any problem placing that foot. It's his left foot that he places with, and of course he kicks with the right foot. We'll also be keeping a sharp eye on Bobby Olive. He has that badly cut finger. He didn't take that many reps this week, and their great running back, Ronald Williams, he hasn't taken that many reps. So when the Hamilton Ticats do take the field, those are the players that we'll be looking at. Brian?
All right, Steve, thank you. We'll check in with both of you during the afternoon as you update both the Hamilton Ticats and the Calgary Stampeders. You know, since the Grey Cup is here in Winnipeg, I think it's only natural we'd invite Peter Jordan to join our coverage once again to bring his, shall I say, unique perspective to his hometown. Here's some videotape. Remember, we unleashed Peter Jordan on an Olympic audience back in Atlanta in 1996. That would be Peter Jordan, he of the quote-unquote amazing adventures. Well, from the South and the Civil War, he took his act overseas to Nagano in the Winter Olympics. From bullet trains to sushi. You're going to see that famous sumo wrestling shot in just a minute. As we catch up with Peter now, there he is, sumo wrestling. He's in his element back home here in Winnipeg. Adventures indeed. Today, Peter is on a nostalgia trip down his own memory lane to a Grey Cup game played a long, long time ago.
It's the Grey Cup Nostalgia Breakfast honoring the 1958 Grey Cup champion Winnipeg Blue Bombers and some, well, kind of blue for the day.
So long and so often, I figured I couldn't beat these damn guys, I might as well join them.
For the 1,500 fans here, it could have been yesterday. It was a chance after 40 years for fans to meet their heroes, old fans, young ones, and some kind of in the middle.
Well, this is really exciting. You know, I was just waking up to CFL football. My dad was a big, big fan. And whenever we wanted to watch a game, we had to go over to our neighbor's place because he was the only guy on the street with a TV. So I'm really excited to be here because my hero is here, Kenny Payne. There he is right there. Can you see him?
Payne elects to run it. He escaped 4 Ticats on a zigzag touchdown ball.
Whether we're playing, I was Kenny Payne and he was Leo Lewis. Hey, Leo, I just wanted to tell you, when we were kids, my brother was Kenny Payne, and I was always Leo Lewis.
Oh, you was?
Yeah, the Lincoln locomotive.
You picked a good one, didn't you?
Anyway, when we watched the game again, I was reminded of this incredible play that completely changed the game.
We had a play design called a 129 sweep special throwback to the quarterback.
I see, because I was 6 years old. I missed the whole thing.
That's what it was called, and it worked like a charm.
Okay, take us through it, Kenny.
Okay, they're lining up now. Here's the sweeping action. No, the ball snapped. It's handed to Leo. He starts streaking around right end. He turns. It's a throwback. He's got it. It scores!
The handoff to Lewis, and he's caught behind the line of scrimmage. He throws the pass to Jim Van Pelt. And Van Pelt is down to the 5-yard line, and it's over for a touchdown.
And so I finally understood that play, and you know what else I understood? Sometimes it's sweeter 40 years later.
Thank you, Peter. And a sad note last night, Cease Looning, who played on that 58 Winnipeg team, was with the Bombers from 54 to 63, died following that celebration. Just a reminder, tomorrow afternoon on the pregame show, we'll take a look back to 1991, a very different time, the only other time the Grey Cup was here. We will hear from, among others, Bruce McNall, Larry Rickman, Rocket Ismail, and Wayne Gretzky. As I look out on the field behind me, it appears the Stampeders have wrapped up their practice. That would be about 20 minutes early. The Ticats coming out at the top of the order. And on this Saturday afternoon, I'm Brian Williams. Welcome back live to Winnipeg Stadium and CBC's continuing coverage of Grey Cup Weekend 98. Just a reminder, we're on the air tomorrow afternoon with our pregame show. That is at 2:30 local time, 3:30 Eastern. We will hear from Bruce McNall, Larry Rickman, Rocket Ismail, Wayne Gretzky, and others as we go back and look at the 1991 Grey Cup game played here in Winnipeg. The Toronto Argonauts, on that great kickoff return by Ismail, Matt Dunnigan playing hurt, defeated the Calgary Stampeders. It's a special 5-hour show this afternoon. We've got about 3 hours and 20 minutes to go. Still to come, the second half of our classic, Hamilton at Saskatchewan from 1989. Calgary, the new attitude, Hamilton building momentum. Caroline Corey with the road that Calgary and Hamilton took to get here this weekend. The Countdown Fan Club, Chris Walby and Mark Lee will talk to players and fans in downtown Winnipeg at the Pyramid Nightclub. And then the great ambassador for Canadian football, Mike Pinball Clemens. Well, both the Calgary Stampeders, as I look out behind me, and the Hamilton Tiger Cats have now finished their final practices for Grey Cup 98, which goes tomorrow afternoon, kickoff at 5 Eastern, 4 local time. I talked about the temperature not really being a factor here today. It's right around freezing. They're expecting it to be about +3 tomorrow, but wind is a major story. It is howling out of the south this afternoon. Let's show you some videotape because it does affect the kickers. We're going to hear from both kickers. Let's begin with Calgary's Mark McLaughlin. This tape a short time ago as McLaughlin practiced kicking into the wind. Glenn Suter caught up with him.
Joining me now is Mark McLaughlin. Mark, what is this wind doing to the kick?
Well, I mean, as you can see, you pick your spot, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So it's kind of gusty right now. But the fortunate thing is we're not playing today. What you do is you just get your range and hope that when you put it up, it stays straight for you.
What do you think in range-wise? They're saying the wind should be about equal to what it is today. What do you think in range-wise?
I'd say max, 37 to 40, somewhere in there, depending on the importance of the kick and the time of the kick during the game. Going with anywhere, depending on what they want to do field position-wise.
Now, how do you mentally prepare over this night? You have one more night to get ready for this. Is it just visualization?
That's all it is, Glenn. You just go and, I'm the type of individual who likes to watch a lot of film, a lot of positive imagery of kicks, and I have some tapes, and I sit down and watch those and get into the right frame of mind. And we'll come tomorrow, and whatever the conditions are, they are, and go out pre-game and get ready to go.
Mark, good luck tomorrow
Thanks,
afternoon.
Mark. Thanks, appreciate it.
Ozzy, the legs seem fine. You're kicking well. Is there a secret to kicking in the wind here in Winnipeg?
Yeah, it was a tough wind today, and you got to keep your body over the ball, hit it a little lower with the trajectory down, and make sure you get your body weight behind it. If you get the ball up in the air at all, it stops immediately and falls short. So with the punts too, you got to keep the spiral tight, keep over it, and drive it into the wind. If you don't, the ball's going to go 10, 15 yards today.
Ozzy, good luck.
Thank you.
By the way, Paul Osbaldiston is the only active Tiger Cat player who was on the 1986 Grey Cup winning team. The last time Hamilton won the Grey Cup, it was his rookie season. You also heard from Mark McLaughlin. I alluded to the fact we'll go back to 91. We'll hear from Rocket Ismail. Ismail returned a kickoff, McLaughlin's kickoff. He played in the game in 91, right down into the corner behind me, and I'll always remember that beer can coming out of the stands and missing the Rocket by about 2 feet. That's all coming up tomorrow afternoon on our pregame show. And on this Saturday afternoon, about 3:25 local time, back live at Winnipeg Stadium. That is the Yorkton, Saskatchewan Regional High School Band, which is appropriate because we just saw Saskatchewan beat the Hamilton Tiger Cats in the 1989 Grey Cup. We come into our broadcast booth here at the north end of the stadium. This was last Thursday night. There's Commissioner John Tory presenting the Commissioner's Award to 3 people. The great Jim Proudfoot, columnist, Toronto Star, our one and only Fausto Belwamini, who works the sidelines, and the legendary good friend of mine, Jim Shaky Hunt from the Toronto Sun and the Fan Radio.
All this proves, if you stay around long enough, good things can happen to almost anybody, including me.
Okay. Oh, wait. Just a second. I got it upside down.
Proudfoot, to tell you how important Fausto Belwamini has been to our telecasts over the years, we'll have Doug Flutie on via videotape tomorrow afternoon as he'll be playing Indianapolis when our pregame show is on. I was talking with Doug via satellite earlier, and as we set it up here, I could hear him in my earpiece at Orchard Park at Bill's Stadium. He said, "This is for CBC," and someone said yes. He said, "Where is Fausto?" Fausto, of course, is here in Winnipeg. Caroline Corey's here in Winnipeg out on the sidelines, and she's going to tell us how both the Hamilton Tiger Cats and the Calgary Stampeders made it here to Winnipeg. Caroline?
Well, certainly, Brian, who could have expected the Hamilton Tiger Cats to be in this Grey Cup championship game? Certainly not most people after they posted that 2-16 record last season, but indeed, that's exactly what has happened. And really, their turnaround began when they hired Ron Lancaster, and Lancaster has that uncanny ability to draw players wherever he goes. Here's a look at how the Cats came back this year. These were the new-look Ticats, from 2-16 last season to a winner, and the turnaround began with the quarterback and the coach.
After the season these guys went through last year, they're all hungry to get out on the field.
When you learn how to win, then losing becomes hard to take. And these guys now, they went through the losing. They know it wasn't any fun. They didn't enjoy it. Now they've won a few games. Now they know what it feels like to win. And sometimes when you get to that position, you just don't lose. They just will not allow themselves to lose, and that's what we're counting on.
The critical game, late October in Regina, where the Ticats fell behind by 18 points, but 3 second-half touchdowns keyed a crucial comeback.
I think the Saskatchewan game was kind of the one thing that we yet had to prove. We had proved we could play with teams. We had proved we could beat some good teams. But what we hadn't proved is that we could come back when we were down and win a football game.
The Ticats might as well go for the tie, so they go for the 2, and they get it.
I just knew that was a huge football game for our team if we wanted to finish first and not play in the semifinal. And guys really dug deep for that win. It was a big step along the road to finishing first.
It is good. The Hamilton Tiger Cats have won this football game 34-31.
My part in this is very small, and I think our success this year has hinged on the fact that everybody is concentrating on what they have to do to make the team successful.
The high-flying Ticats had worked all season to have the East Final at home at Ivor Wynne before nearly 26,000 supportive fans. And with the old stadium rocking, the Ticats hope to carry the momentum for a fast start.
Let's go, baby, let's go!
The Alouettes, with 11 wins on the season, would supply the opposition. Hamilton owned the first half. 6 minutes into the game, Danny McManus hit Darren Flutie with a 30-yard scoring toss. A handoff to Ronald Williams made it 14-0, and the lead would swell to 18 points before Montreal would score. Tracy Ham keyed a furious Alouette comeback, tossing just over Lamar McGriggs to Matt Cody to close within 5. Ron Lancaster paced and fretted, and in the final minute, Ham to Cody again, the Alouettes led. Hamilton had hope, but little time.
20 seconds to go. McManus, quick release, it's complete to Flutie for the first down. But he stays in bounds, that means the clock will keep running. Osbaldiston will set up his tee on the 54. He hit one like this in the warm-ups. Here's Osbaldiston, lots of leg, it's good!
See you soon, man.
Am I surprised we're at this position? Oh, for sure. I mean, I knew we'd have a winning program, but to be representing the East is a little bit of a surprise. Now to even get a chance to represent the East in the Grey Cup, that would be the icing on the cake.
Well, let's stay with the Hamilton Ticats for just a minute. Chris Cuthbert will call the game tomorrow afternoon. Earlier in the week, he sat down and spoke with Hamilton head coach Ron Lancaster.
Ron, you're in the Hall of Fame. You've won the Grey Cup as a coach and a player, but I wonder if this isn't the greatest year you've had in the CFL.
I would think so down the road. Right now, you're living it. It's gone past everybody's wildest expectations. I don't think anybody expected us to be where we are. I don't want to say it's great, it's this, it's that. Let's wait till everything is over. But there's no question when you look back on your career, this has to be very, very high at the top, because it's just kind of hard for me to believe, as I said the other day at a press conference. We can't understand why we're still playing, because nobody ever thought we would be.
You turned 60 last month.
Yeah.
Any cause for reflection on all the great years in football, or what years might still lie ahead?
No, you know, that part never bothers me. I don't feel any different now than I felt when I was 40, until I try to run or throw. And then I know how old I am. But I don't ever look at age, I look at age as being irrelevant. Like there's guys that are ready to retire when they're 30 as players, others can play 35, some should retire when they're 22. That's all state of mind. If you feel good and you enjoy what you're doing and you don't mind getting out of bed and going with the good days and the bad days, then go ahead and do it. So I don't worry about that.
You excelled in the broadcast booth for a decade. But looking back now, do you regret that some of that time wasn't spent on the sidelines?
No, no, I kind of really enjoyed those years, more than most people would realize. That was really fun to sit up there and watch what I always said at the time, watching game tapes live. Because all my years of playing, your film is shot from right where we were, and when you sit down to study the game, that's what you're looking at. And I'm seeing it happen live. Secondly, I had the opportunity to sit down and talk to every head coach in the league on a personal basis in his room with just him and learn an awful lot about football, and then to see what they say, see it come true on the field. No, that was really a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that.
Your son's now made a name for himself in the league as an offensive coordinator. That must be special.
I think it is from the standpoint that like coming to Hamilton, I didn't feel it was a problem. The problem was hiring him in Edmonton. That's where, you know, people would, you know, hiring his son, blah, blah, blah. And I told him that we'd have to go through that, and it was never a problem. But getting him to come to Hamilton was special because I told him I needed him for at least another year. Reason for it is that I had Southern, and I put him over there. I don't have to worry about, if I say we had a game next Tuesday, we'll be ready to play. So I knew I could relax. And I never ever wanted him to get into coaching to begin with. But if he's going to get in it and that's what he wants to do, then I hope he becomes the best. And he's a good coach now, and he's going to get better.
Finally, do you see the irony in having to face Calgary? They're the obstacle again. Even though you've moved to East, you still have to go through Calgary to win it.
You know, when you talk about the year, it's a strange year. One, it seems like all we did in Edmonton was prepare for Calgary, and we opened the season with them. So now we got to go through training camp and talk about them. When you got to the end of the season, it was always us and Calgary in the Western Final. Now we're preparing for them again, just under different circumstances. The whole year has been strange. We may as well end it that way.
Good luck.
You bet.
Well, in spite of the high winds, the helicopter's up. Live shot. That's a great shot of downtown Winnipeg on this Saturday afternoon. Still to come, Scott Taylor from the Winnipeg Free Press, and we'll take a look at how the Stampeders got here to Manitoba. This was last night. First time the Grey Cup Parade has been held at night on a Friday night. Actually, it's a great idea. It was a combination Grey Cup Parade, Santa Claus Parade, fireworks. Maybe a good idea for other cities to consider in the future. Big crowd here in Winnipeg, 75,000 last night. Jeff, is that helicopter still up? If it is, can we get a live shot of the downtown area? There it is, Dave Tomasini at the controls. If we can zoom into Winnipeg Stadium, which is on the western edge of the downtown area. There it is off in the distance with the lights. And as we zoom back here to Winnipeg Stadium, she's down there somewhere. Caroline Corey.
All right, Brian. Well, you know what they say about the Calgary Stampeders. They are the team of the 90s. They've been to the Cup 4 times, brought it home just once. Expectations are high, and their quarterback, Jeff Garcia, says, hey, this year it feels different. Here's a look at how the Stamps got to this point. The winningest team of the 90s, yet the Calgary Stampeders haven't become the dynasty many predicted until perhaps now.
This team has really come together this year. I think it's the most focused team that I've been on since I've been here. We may not be as skilled as Calgary Stampeder teams in the past in certain areas, but I think where it counts, we have tremendous skill.
It's a different feeling this year. This year's the attitude is, you know, we're going out there with a lot of confidence, and we got the winning attitude, and we're ready to play this game. You know, games feel like it's taking forever, but I think everybody in this locker room has the right attitude, and we're ready to win.
The Stampeders have won with big plays all season, leading the league in scoring, touchdowns, and total yards.
That's it, keep on. Here you go, baby. Here you go, baby.
Mistakes heard early in the West Final. Only 3 field goals from the red zone. Same old Stamps choking again.
You got to raise your level of play. You got to raise your level of intensity. It's a big game. You can't play at an average level because the other guy can be an average athlete, but if his level of intensity is higher than yours, then he's going to be right there with you.
Travis, it was a better throw, we can still complete it. But he's still kind of looking inside because I can't get on top of him quick enough.
The strengths of this football club are the veterans. We have a lot of veterans, the Alan Pittses, the Alondra Johnsons, the Rocco Romanos, the Darryl Halls. You know, these are the players that have to lead us to victory, and we're putting all our hopes and all our dreams in their hands.
When Edmonton closed within 9 points, the defense rose up, swarming, suffocating, refusing to allow a touchdown.
We're going to shut him down on defense, baby.
And then the offense caught the spirit, exploding for 17 fourth-quarter points, a team effort, a new attitude.
We have a lot of weapons on the offensive side of the ball, and it's something that, you know, you want to be able to spread the wealth. Sometimes it's a little more difficult than others, but you're always going to have one or two guys stepping up and making plays, and that's the key to our success all year.
Hey, we got 3 more minutes, but you know what? We're going to the show, baby. Let's go out here and finish this out.
The vets around here, they, like AJ and Rocco, they know how I feel to drink out of cup. I don't, so I'm hungry for it. And a lot of more young players are hungry, so I feel like this is a big game, and like I said, we're just one step away. And the attitude we have in this locker room now is like there's nothing can stop us, so let's just go out and get it on.
I see a slip, now looks deep, wide open, and it's Travis Moore with a touchdown.
Well, a few minutes ago, we heard Chris Cuthbert with Ron Lancaster. Here now is Chris Cuthbert in conversation with the head coach of the Calgary Stampeders, Wally Buono.
Wally, your team's been described as the Atlanta Braves of the Canadian Football League. How do you weigh the successes and the failures of the 90s for the Calgary Stampeders?
Well, I guess when we're compared to Atlanta, I take it somewhat as a compliment because they too have been a very successful organization. And you know, in the 90s, we won a lot of football games. I think we put on a very entertaining product, but I think all professional organizations gets measured by how many championships they won. You know, so far we've won 1. I think we've been, you know, we're disappointed because of that. But again, I'm not ashamed of our record, and I can't change what's happened. But you know, we can work on 1998 and thereafter, and hopefully we'll make amends for some of the disappointments this year.
I've heard you talk a lot about psychology lately, and I wondered, was this a team or was this a coach that needed a shrink after all the disappointments?
Well, in reality, Chris, we use a psychologist, Dr. Frank Laudata, who's a friend of mine, has worked you know, with the Miami Dolphins when they were 17-0, and has worked with a lot of professional teams. And you know, I think what happened is I was reevaluating what I was doing, how effective I was during the offseason, and you know, at the same time, the captains came to me and wanted to get themselves more involved in maybe the psychology or the chemistry of the football club. So my research, my conversations with Frank, and you know, maybe the input of the players, I think has been good. It's been refreshing. It's been easier on myself, and I think it's been much more effective for the players.
You were reminiscing about the Alouettes, and you said the end of the Alouette era is when the players lost ownership of the team. Did you give your players in Calgary more ownership of the team?
Well, you know, because I always felt that I gave the players ownership, but maybe I didn't demand ownership. I think there's a big difference. You know, I always referred to the players as this is your team, not mine. But I think this year, you know, partly whether it was demand or was, you know, making the players or the captains aware that our expectations of them were much higher, and they really, I think, rose to the challenge. And you know, it's their club. You know, they address issues, you know, for me, and then a lot of times what I do is I just reinforce them and back them up.
You played for Marv Levy. What impact did he have on your coaching career?
Well, again, I liked Marv's style of coaching. He was a very well-organized, a very professional man that really respected his players, and I think respected his coaches. And you know, the thing about Marv is he instituted pride, tradition, and respect. I mean, you know, and for me, that's something that I've always looked to. And you know, hopefully my players can say the same about me, that I respect them as football players. I expect them to be professionals, and I hopefully have instilled enough pride in themselves and in the organization to succeed.
You're coaching against Ron Lancaster. You used to play against Ron Lancaster. What do you remember about that?
Well, one of the highlights for myself was when I sacked Ron in 1977. He probably has a lot more than just one highlight, but for me that was a highlight. And as a player, he was a very intelligent, very fierce competitor. And I think as a coach, I would probably categorize him very much the same way. Very intense, but yet when you talk to Ronnie, you would always think he's kind of a laid-back kind of guy. Very intelligent. His football teams are always, I think, well coached, and he surrounds himself with excellent people. Like now he has Danny McMahon and Darren Flutie, who are two very, very intense but very intelligent football players.
Good luck.
Thank you.
And joining me live in the studio, Scott Taylor, columnist for the Winnipeg Free Press. Do you remember the first time we did this? It was in a different part of the world.
Seoul, 1988, when we started the morning, we couldn't pronounce stanozolol, and by the end of the day, we were experts.
We were experts on Ben Johnson. You're an expert on the city of Winnipeg. Tell me about not selling out the end zone seats off to my right, which will be very cold with the wind whipping up from the south.
Well, I think there are a lot of reasons for it. Number one, in 1991, they put 51,929 in this building, and there was a certain passion in this town that we hadn't seen in a long time. I think a lot of it had to do with Winnipeg wanted to show people that they could put on a Grey Cup in the West and do a great job, and they did that. Since then, we've lost our hockey team, the Winnipeg Jets, and I think a lot of the sports fans feel that they've been beaten up pretty good by it, and I think a lot of people left town because of it. And for this week, too, about 2,000 tickets were sold to the Minnesota Vikings Green Bay Packers game. Every bus tour to Minnesota was full this week, too, so there's 2,000 football fans who took off and left town. But I think more than anything else, and I really do believe this, I think Winnipeggers stood up and said no. $124.50 for those seats in the open, in the wind. It's going to be very, very cold for this game. They said, no, that's too much money. That's too expensive for those lousy seats. And I had a number of conversations with fellows from Toronto in our business who said, finally, somebody in this country stood up and said, that's too much money. We aren't going to pay it.
Scott, you alluded to the Jets leaving town. The Jets go, yet this city has landed 3 major events. 2 beyond this one.
Well, 4 if you consider the Brier, which we had here, and curling is becoming huge in Canada. But the ticket sales to the Brier were disappointing as well. Ticket sales here, disappointing certainly for the organizers. The Pan Am Games, that's still up in the air. We're worried about that a little bit. But the World Junior Hockey Championship, which is coming up at the end of December, the Canada-USA game is sold right out from what I understand this morning. The gold medal game has about 100 tickets left. Canada, Czech Republic, Canada, Finland, almost completely sold out. So obviously Canadians still love their hockey, but they're just going to, they'd rather pay $26, $20, $12, and $6 than $124.50 for a seat.
And it goes back to overcharging for the end zone seats.
Exactly.
What about the Grey Cup going to Vancouver next year? John Tory wants it in Toronto in 2 years. He said, look, we've got to take it to the biggest markets. Do you think it's a good idea, or do you think the game should stay here in Winnipeg, Regina, Calgary, Edmonton?
Well, I think as Winnipeg took on this game, I think we all have to understand the game has to go where people want it. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers were the only team that applied for this game. There was a thought that Montreal wanted it. It was not true, according to Jeff Giles. Montreal never applied for this game. There was some thought Vancouver wanted this game. Never happened. There was no application. If this game wasn't played in Winnipeg, it would have been played in a vacant lot in Ottawa, for all anybody knew. There was no place for this game to go. So if the Vancouver ownership, the BC Lions ownership wants this game, then they should certainly have this game. Now, whether it will be a success or not, I think is up to David Braley and his people.
Do you think it can be a success now in Vancouver?
Well, I think anything can be a success anywhere as long as you sell the thing and you price the tickets at the right price point. But I think it's going to be very, very difficult for the CFL because there's so much to do in Vancouver.
Scott, I'm a little prejudiced as I was born here, but in spite of the fact this city didn't sell all the end zone seats, there is an excitement here. There is a passion and there is a feeling for this game.
Well, I think that another problem that we faced was the fact that a lot of people from around the country couldn't get here because it's terribly expensive to fly in this country. I know when Hamilton fans woke up on Monday morning and their team was in the Grey Cup, they phoned their travel agents, it's $960 to come to Winnipeg. That's a lot of money to take a week off and come to a football game. Yeah, it's been a great week. 75,000 people at the parade, proving that you can sell something out if you charge nothing for the tickets. And there's been an excitement at all the other events, the rock and roll shows, the hoedown, the dance show. I mean, all the things that went with the Grey Cup have had great crowds.
Got a couple of seconds. How do you see the game tomorrow?
I think Winnipeggers are going to have a lot to do with it. I think Dan Pronik's going to recover a fumble late in the game to tie the game at 28-28, the old St. Paul Highs player. And then I think Mark McLaughlin from Sisler High is going to kick the winning field goal, 31-28 Calgary.
You heard it. Scott Taylor of the Winnipeg Free Press. Scott, thank you for joining us here this afternoon. He was an expert on Ben Johnson. He's now an expert on the Calgary Stampeders. Stay with us. You're watching live coverage of our Grey Cup weekend 1998. We'll return live to Winnipeg Stadium on this Saturday afternoon. Mark Lee and Chris Walby at the Pyramid Nightclub right after this. And as we approach 4 o'clock local time on this Saturday afternoon, the pilot is Dave Tomasini, the cameraman is Grant Bremen. Helicopter shots of Winnipeg Stadium. And if you are just joining us, good afternoon from Winnipeg Stadium. I'm Brian Williams. Welcome back to CBC's continuing coverage of Grey Cup 98. Tomorrow afternoon on our pregame show, we will hear from Bruce McNall, Larry Rickman, Wayne Gretzky, Rocket Ismail, and others as we go back to the time the game was played here in 1991 when Toronto defeated Calgary. Still to come, Pinball Clemens, speaking of Toronto. First, though, in downtown Winnipeg, the Pyramid Cabaret was transformed into the Countdown Fan Club, where CBC's Mark Lee and Chris Walby held court. It was a chance to talk football, for the fans to mingle with some Grey Cup players. Ladies and gentlemen, from the Pyramid Cabaret, Mark Lee and Chris Walby.
Thinks he's back in that Bomber huddle calling the plays, eh?
Well, when I was calling the plays, we were winning.
Welcome, everybody, to the Countdown Fan Club from the Pyramid Club here in downtown Winnipeg. I'm Mark Lee, along with the big guy, Chris Walby, the former Blue Bomber. Hey, and how about Peter Jordan and the Countdown Band? Hey! We've got a great show planned for you tonight. Jeff Garcia of the Stampeders is here. Danny McManus of the Tiger Cats, he'll join us.
Hey, we also have
the fan favorite. The fan favorite is here. We can't tell you who he is right now, but he was voted upon by fans across this country. Thousands of fans. We'll show you to him a little later on.
Hey, we also have
your special feature, which is a big extravaganza. It's going to hog most of the airtime on this show.
And
Walby's Warriors, the first installment. What's that all about?
Well, I'm going to keep that a secret right now. Just let me put it this way. These are the guys I'd like to have on my side of the field when I'm playing.
All right. Let's do the palm check. Before we go on the air every week on the CFL on CBC, I got to check the big guys' palms, and if they're sweaty, let me see. He's got the sweat going, and I know he's ready. Work on that. But it's nothing like, I would think, getting ready for the big game, the big Grey Cup game. This guy's been there 5 times. He's won it 3 times. Can you let us know what you think the Stamps and the Cats are thinking about right now?
Well, I think right now, they're so nervous right now. I mean, it's a day before. They're playing. They're right now trying to get some sleep. Right now, they're visualizing. They're doing all the things they need to do necessary to get that ring. Because I tell you what, you hear a lot of talk about the money. It's not about the money. It's about the jewelry. Because money's gone. But the jewelry, baby, stays with you forever.
All right, let's bring out our first guest. He is the starting quarterback of the East Division champion Hamilton Tiger Cats. 33-year-old Danny McManus is thriving as a Tiger Cat. The former Florida State signal caller followed Ron Lancaster to the Tabbies and led the team to first place with coolness under pressure. Second in passing yardage with over 4,800 yards. He accounted for 24 scoring passes in '98 thanks to pinpoint accuracy. After stops in Winnipeg, BC, and Edmonton, he's matured into one of the clutch performers in the CFL. Danny McManus here for his 5th Grey Cup, back in Winnipeg where it all started.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please put your hands together for Danny
All right, Bluto, give him the sweaty palm test.
What you got? Let's see. Oh, you want to check mine out too? Yeah. Oh, baby.
Playing with you for 3 years.
You better give him a few of these. Here you go.
That might not be enough, but that's good.
All right.
Danny, what's it like to be back in the Peg? This is where it all started back at the beginning of the 90s.
Oh, this is great. The fans in Winnipeg, when I was here in '90, they were psyched up about Grey Cup football. Now that they finally had a chance to host one, and that was a super party in '91. Now we're back here in '98. I expect nothing but great things to happen on Sunday. The biggest thing that I see in Winnipeg is that these people know football. They love football, and me and Chris were part of some great teams in the city.
You know, give it up. You know what? That leads me to my question, Danny. I'd like to ask you one thing, and this is something I'm sure the fans would like to know here in Winnipeg, being that we are in the '98 Grey Cup in Winnipeg. Do you ever think back, what would it have been like had you stayed in Winnipeg and not left the team in '92 or '93?
It depends. You've been calling most of the plays while I was in there anyway, so if we would have made it to the Grey Cup, it would all have been what Chris wanted me to run.
Maybe I should ask, maybe I should ask, are you still on Kel Murphy's Christmas list?
We haven't exchanged letters in a while, so.
Got to ask you about the final 24 seconds of the East Final. What was going through your mind? You're always so calm and cool. You step up, you've got 2, maybe 3 plays in your pocket.
Well, I think the first thing is that I screwed up our last series. I threw the ball on second down. If we would have ran it, the clock would have kept going. And then when we got the ball back with 24 seconds, before I walked on the field, Ozzie came to me and looked me right in the eye and said, just get the ball to the 49 and I'll put it through the pipes.
What about the time? You mentioned the clock.
Yeah.
Wasn't it a fact that, I feel like Judge Wapner, wasn't it a fact? Didn't Montreal put 16 more seconds on the clock, and what would have happened had they not fought to have that time reinstated on the clock?
You'd probably be talking to Tracy Ham instead of me today.
That's the wild thing, because at 1:24 to go in the game, the clock didn't start on Tracy's run. He ran for about 10 seconds. They ended up putting 1:22 back on the clock. So in effect, that field goal time would have elapsed before he got a chance to kick it.
Yeah, I talked to Dave Ewell, who was the official that day, that the clock never ran. He came back and said they said it did. It went from 1:24 to 1:22. I said I know Tracy ran a lot longer than just 2 seconds, but it worked out that that gave us some more time on the clock. Unfortunately, I think Montreal now would wish that the clock ran off and they would have a chance to be here today.
You know what? Before you ask him another thing, I think it's time that I walk out and just check out some of the fans because they're happy to have you back in Peg. I want to see if they got any questions for you, big man.
Okay. Now, I got to ask Danny, before you get out there, Chris, about the cycle. Every even year, you're in the Cup. 90, 92, 94, 96, 98. Every 4 years, you win the Cup. 90, 94, 98. The planets are all in line for you.
I'm hoping. I got to check the horoscope, see if the stars are all together. It's one of those things that you don't really look at too much. I think a reporter brought it up to me a couple weeks ago, and it's just that I've been a part of some great teams, starting here at Winnipeg, then got to go out to BC, and then a couple of years in Edmonton. And right now with Hamilton, what we did from 2-16 to where we are now, that's the biggest turnaround, I believe, in CFL history.
Greatest turnaround for the Cats, too. 16 losses to 12 wins. Let's go to Chris out in the crowd.
Hey, I got Bob here, Danny, and he's got a question for you.
Danny, you were talking about starting off here in Winnipeg, and you've had the chance to play with a lot of great receivers throughout your career. Great one with Darren Flutie there in Hamilton. I'm wondering who is the best all-around receiver you've ever had the pleasure of playing with.
Well, I think no doubt it's Darren. Whichever team I go to, I make sure he comes with me. That's part of the deal. He's not allowed to go anywhere without me. Darren's he's not only a great receiver, but he's also like another quarterback out there on the field. He's able to see things that I can't see during a pass route. And I think this year was his first year of really helping out the receivers alongside of him. Mike Morielli getting 1,000 yards, but he's also opening routes for Andrew Grigg and Bobby Olive on the outside.
You got another question over here. We got Jeff over here with a question for you, Big Mac.
Yeah, Darren, I was just wondering. You know, I'm a beloved Stamps fan. Hate to say it, but you know, in 1994, you came up big. You beat the Stamps, and I was just wondering if, with the new Stampeder defense coming in, if you guys had any different game plan.
The biggest thing we got to do is from the last 2 games we played, and this is a team that we haven't beaten yet. I think when we played them in Hamilton, they had a time of possession of 39 minutes. When Jeff and his offense has 39 minutes to operate, they're going to put points on the board. So we got to be smart with the football, try to keep Jeff and his offense off the field. If we can do that, then we got a chance to maybe pull this thing out.
Now, the weather is supposed to be pretty decent for this late in November in Manitoba, but you're a guy, you never wear long sleeves, right?
Right, I don't put the long sleeves on. Chris told me to never do that when I was a rookie here in '90. He watched, made sure I never wore sleeves out there. And coming from Florida, that first year in 1990, I think we played one game, it was like -10, and he watched me. He made sure I didn't put sleeves on, so I haven't been able to wear them since.
And on that note, who's pulling for Hamilton in the Grey Cup? Danny McManus, thanks so much for coming on the Countdown Fan Club, and all the best to you and the Tiger Cats tomorrow in the 86th Grey Cup game.
Appreciate it, Mark. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Danny McManus, ladies and gentlemen, the starting quarterback for the Tiger Cats. Still to come on Countdown Fan Club, we've got Jeff Garcia, we've got our special fan favorite. Wallabies Warriors will be here in 2 big installments. We've also got the top 3 plays of the year in the CFL, and this is play number 3.
You always have to watch Alan Pitts, perennial Calgary scoring threat, but stopping him is another story entirely. Pitts slips away from the Eskimos' Rio Wells, and with glue on his fingertips makes the one-hand grab. A milestone TD, number 100 for Pitts in his Stampeder career.
Welcome back to the Countdown Fan Club from the Pyramid Club in downtown Winnipeg. On the eve of the 86th Grey Cup between the Stampeders and the Tiger Cats. Still to come, Jeff Garcia of the Stampeders, our fan favorite player of the year, and your big new installment, the Wallaby Warriors. And let me get this straight. These are guys cut from the same cloth as big Chris Wallaby. Anybody who watched this guy play here in Winnipeg knows that he checked the clock every day. He was a meat and potatoes guy, a blue-collar blue bomber, and this is the kind of team you've got set up for us.
You know what? One of the things, I broke down a lot of film. We checked into a lot of things. We didn't do character checks because I don't believe in that. I believe in looking at leadership qualities. I believe in looking at guys that I played with over the years, Ty Jones kind of guys, James West kind of guys. Guys that used to get knocked down and get right back in your face and want to go even stronger. I remember guys in the locker room who would headbutt each other before the game, and then when they put their helmets on, they do it again. These are the kind of guys that I like on my team.
All right, let's look at the first team of the Wallaby Warriors.
Running backs, my toughest decision? I don't think so. Not when you have a guy named Mike Pringle. 2,000 yards. What a year. But that's not why he leads off the 1998 edition of the Wallaby Warriors. It's his toughness, his never-say-die attitude. Hey, he'll run around you, but most of the time he wants to run right over you. And he doesn't care how big you are. He just loves contact. He gets stronger as the game goes on, and you think it's tough to bring him down? Well, it's tougher to take him out. Look at him here being used as a human vacuum cleaner. Now, did he leave the game? Not a chance. He came back even stronger and more determined. Now that's a warrior. And how about those Hoggies, the offensive line? One of the 5 reasons Pringle ran so well was the human battering ram, Neil Fort. This guy's hard to miss at 360 pounds, but he is as big as a mountain, and he has feet like a dancer. This guy's got it all. Spirit, toughness, grit. This guy's the Cal Ripken of the CFL. He's never missed a game. What a warrior. And what about the big chill, Fred Childress? Don't let the smile fool you. The only thing he likes to do is bury you. He's the Undertaker of the offensive line. He doesn't just want to knock you down. He wants to hurt you. The big chill's the kind of warrior you want on your side when you're going into war. Okay, time for the big play guys, the receivers. Alan Pitts from Calgary. Hand injury. Career over? Not a chance. He's come back with a vengeance, again leading the team in receptions, making clutch catches look simple, reaching new heights to do what he does best, snag football. And Pitts does whatever it takes to play the game. This guy's a real winner, a big play guy. With the game on the line, this is the type of warrior you want on your side. And on the flip side, how about Daryl Mitchell, Mr. Explosion? He's totally destroyed the league record for receptions with 160 catches. Is he afraid to go across the middle? Not a chance. That's his favorite pattern. And he turns them all into big plays. He's totally fearless. The total warrior package. What about the game breakers, the special teamer on offense? On a team with few bright spots, Eric Blunt of Winnipeg shone like a star. He set league records in kickoff and punt returns, and where other guys would have folded their tents, Eric remained strong, focused, and determined, and ended up leading the league in combined yardage. Eric leads by example. No matter what the score, he plays from the heart. He plays with pride. He is truly an inspirational warrior.
New game now, son. New game.
Well, let's hit the category of kickers. Forgive me for even thinking a kicker could be a warrior. My attitude is, hey, leave them in the stands and calm down when they're needed. But Noel Prefontaine is an exception to the rule. Most kickers avoid oncoming traffic, but not Prefontaine. He takes a hit, but hey, he likes to dish it out too. He's got the heart of a linebacker, and this guy actually goes hunting for trouble. Look at the contact. He loves to mix it up. Hey, this guy was 6th in special team tackles for Toronto. What about Troy Westwood, my old buddy? Can he take a hit? Here he is again. Hey, he not only saw stars, he saw the northern lights. But does Troy take himself out? No way. Look at this. Here's a man playing with pain. Here's a man playing with courage. Troy Westwood, that true warrior.
Troy, I tell you what, buddy, you know what I feel about kickers. You know I said that in an early thing. I said, I won't let them stay in the stands, bring them down, put their pop down, come and kick it and get back up there. But I got to tell you something right now. What an inspiration. Not only are you from Winnipeg, which I love, the fact is that, you know, I watched that hit, and when I watched it, my jacket came off. It was a contact like I've never seen before, yet you stayed in. You personified toughness to me. And I want to just say congratulations to being a 1998 Walby Warrior. I want to present you with this shirt. I'd model it, but it'll fit you. I know you got the guns. Take a look at this puppy. This is a nice one right here. I tell you what. And I just want to ask you, can I ask you a question? What was going through your mind? I know that you've heard this 100 times about the hit. Tell me something about the hit.
Well, I didn't see the guy coming at all. I just thought I was going to get Blair as he was screaming up the sidelines, and Robert Brown taught me one heck of a good lesson. I got to make a shoulder check before I try and turn, man.
You had your signal stuck, did you? Listen, is it going to change the way you play the game of football? That's one thing I want to know.
Absolutely not. If we're in a position where I've got to help the team to try and make a tackle, man, I'm going to get my fanny down the field with all the rest of the guys and try and mix it up a bit.
Listen, I tell you what, one of the things I got to know, and I don't know if everybody knows here, I make a lot of jokes about you, but I love you. Listen, you play in a band, Budgie and Crow. No, it's Eagle and Hawk. I still make jokes. I know you play. I know you're a heck of a singer. I'm just wondering if you would be, do the honor of these guys. Peter up there, come up there and play a set with them. What? Just do something with them. Would you join the band? All right. Come on up here. Let's hear it for Troy Westwood. All right.
Troy Westwood of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Well, this season, we asked our fans across the country to tell us who they thought the best player of the year was in the CFL, the fan favorite. We got tens of thousands of votes on our CFL on CBC website. It was a close race, but when all was said and done, 3 players stood out. Tonight, player number 3 from the Toronto Argonauts, Daryl Mitchell.
Yo!
How to follow up 1997's Rookie of the Year campaign? Or Daryl Mookie Mitchell of the Argos, just keep on doing what you do best, catching passes? The 27-year-old Texas Tech star was selected to his second CFL All-Star team thanks to a record-setting 160 receptions. In the East Semi, Mookie caught a CFL playoff record 16 passes for 180 yards and a touchdown. Fan favorite number 3, Daryl Mitchell. Still to come, quarterback Jeff Garcia of the Calgary Stampeders when we come back to the Countdown Fan Club.
And a live shot of downtown Winnipeg on this Saturday afternoon. In the foreground, that is the Red River. Actually pretty well at the center of your screen, just above the word Saturday and a bit to the right, is what they call the Forks, where the Assiniboine and the Red Rivers meet. This helicopter piloted today by Dave Tomasini. The cameraman is Grant Bremen. And these aerial shots are brought to you this afternoon by Canon Canada, leaders in imaging technology. And from high over Winnipeg, let's go back down to the pyramid. Once again, Mark Lee and Chris Walby.
Welcome back to the Countdown Fan Club from downtown Winnipeg on the eve of the big game, the 86th Grey Cup between the Stamps and the Tiger Cats. Still to come, the fan favorite, the People's Choice as the CFL Player of the Year, and more of your characters in the Walby Warriors. Now you've got 2 O-linemen, Childress and Fort. You probably got a pile more of those big hogs on the line.
What? You know I love the old lineman. You know why? Because who couldn't fall in love with a little hoggy like this? Come on, I'm telling you right now.
That's Chuck, the first flying pig.
You know what I like about this is the same color. One of the things that I love about linemen is they don't wear sleeves in cold weather. I look at that, I tell you what, you go out there, now kickers are different, they wear parkas, you know. They look like a just pile of clothing in your back of your room. And you know the rest of the guys, but I love looking for the tough guys. That's why I love the linemen, baby.
All right, let's bring on a guy who wears gloves in the cold weather. The man making his first start in a Grey Cup game for the Calgary Stampeders. In his 5th year with the Stamps, 28-year-old Jeff Garcia finally realized his ambition of leading his team into the Grey Cup final after some disappointing playoff experiences. The former San Jose State star guided the Stamps to first place in the West, throwing for 4,276 yards, while adding another 575 yards on the ground. Never one to shy away from contact, Garcia was at his best in the West Final, shedding some postseason criticism. 3 touchdown passes put Garcia's Stamps in the title game for the 4th time in 8 years.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the mighty West, would you please welcome Jeff Garcia.
We did it for Danny Mac. We got to do it for Jeff. Show us the palms. Oh, yeah, they're sweaty. There you go, big guy. He's ready to play football. We gave you a bit of a shot about the gloves. You know, he says he played with bare arms. What about the gloves, though, in cold weather? What do they do for you throwing the ball?
Especially in the cold weather, the ball's a bit slick. They come fresh out of the box, bit hard, bit slick. So with the gloves, I just get a better grip on them. And, you know, I started wearing them at the end of last year. Liked the way they felt, wore them all this year, so I'm used to them.
All right, Jeff, tell us what it's like to be the man now, the starting quarterback for this team, going into the Grey Cup for the first time as number 1.
Well, it's a great situation. I've been blessed with a great team. We've been together for a while now, a lot of veterans on this club, and so being able to get here to Winnipeg has definitely been the goal all year long. And finally we're here. It's a great situation. We're excited about Sunday.
You know what? I got to tell you what. I'm a big fan of Jeff Garcia's. I love the way this guy plays football. The first thing I noticed about you when I ever watched you play, you never hook slide. I mean, honest to God, you run over people like a linebacker. You'll do whatever it takes to get your team in the winning situation. I love that.
Plays a lot like Matt Dunnigan played
Like Matt
in this town.
Dunnigan. I mean, is that something that you incorporated from college? Or is that the way you've always played?
I think that's just been my style of football. I've always played that well. I've been an aggressive runner. You know, it's something to choose your situation. I mean, there are times when I am going to step out of bounds if given the opportunity. But if it means getting an extra yard for a first down, I'm going to do it. I'm kind of disappointed. I didn't see a quarterback in the Warrior category. And did you see that hit last week?
There you go. Hey. Let's not get crazy yet. You know, we do have a part 2.
There's a part 2 coming. Does that mean he's on the B team, or what's that?
No, there is no B team in the Wallaby Warriors. Let me tell you that right now. These are all A-grade players.
All right, beautiful. How about stacking up against the Cats? You beat them both games you played this year. The first one by 1. The second game, what was it, 35-18? You really cooked them.
Well, I think the main thing that we did in that game was our offensive line control the line of scrimmage. When you play the Ticats, they have a great defense. Their defensive line is a pressure defensive line. They get after the quarterback, and I think one of the things that Danny Mack alluded to earlier was that we controlled the ball that game. I mean, the time of possession was definitely in our favor, and that's because we were able to run the ball well, got Kelvin involved. That's something that's going to have to be a key on Sunday. You know, we're facing a tough defense, and we're going to need to control the ball once again.
These guys had 200 yards rushing in that game and 4 TDs.
I just want to say one thing also. I got a chance to meet your dad last year. Quite a character, loves the game of football. You know, it's got to be a great feeling. I saw the picture of you, your mom, and your dad hugging at center field. How much does that mean to you to have them? I'm sure they're coming up to watch you in the Cup. How much does that mean to you to have them here?
Oh, it's just it's a great situation. It's a great family. You know, they've always supported me throughout everything that I've done, and my dad being a football coach, he kind of started me at a young age, and you know, that's a lot of the reason why I'm where I'm at today. And having them share in those situations with me, it's just a great feeling.
Jeff, let's talk about the family in the locker room. I know you and Alan Pitts stayed in Calgary through the off-season, got to know the community better. And your coach, Wally Buono, was telling us that you and Alan took it upon yourself to go to Wally and to, I guess, have the leaders on the team and the players take more ownership of the Stampeders. What can you tell us about that?
Well, I think definitely guys stepped up this year. There's definitely been more weight on the players' shoulders as far as decision making and what we're going to do as far as being comfortable within our group. And you know, guys have come to the forefront, and everybody's rallied around them. And you know, young guys like even Aubrey Cummings, they step up, and everybody, I think, respects each individual within that locker room, and we're all leaning on each other because in order to get this far, you definitely have to be a close-knit group.
You know, I'm going to go out. I did this to Danny Mack. I'm going to do it to you, Jeff. I'm going to go out and get some questions from the fans. But as I leave, I want you to kind of answer this. What are your feelings? I know it's the biggest week of football. What are your feelings about the dreaded curfew?
Well, I think it's a great thing to impose on the team. I think back in '95 when we went to the Grey Cup, there really wasn't a curfew the first few nights, and guys took advantage of it. But I don't think the focus was on the game. It was more so on the festivities going around town. And, you know, we're here for one reason, and that's to take care of business, to win a Grey Cup. And there's going to be plenty of time to celebrate once that is over with.
Didn't you and some of the other veterans go to Wally and say, we need a curfew and here's what we think will be fair?
Yeah. You know, the veterans, again, they stepped it up, and they felt, let's have a curfew. Let's everybody be on the same page. Let's take care of the business that we're here to take care of. And Wally was definitely listening to that, and he accepted it.
Hey, over here. Hey, guys, over here. We're over here. I got Daryl with me, and he's got a question for Jeff.
Well, first of all, congratulations, Jeff, to you and the Stamps on a great year. Watching the game on Sunday, you and your whole team looked really intense. I was just wondering what it felt like when the final gun sounded and you knew you were coming to Winnipeg for the Grey Cup.
Oh, it was great. Just the emotion, the excitement on the field, in the locker room was an outstanding feeling. And, you know, the team really came together and played well. We had a great week of practice. And we just went out and took care of business. We weren't going to leave any doubt in anybody's mind who the best team in the West was, and that's what we showed on Sunday.
One more question over here for you, Jeff. We got Fonz over here.
Jeff, I was just wondering, you mentioned Aubrey Cummings, you got Travis Moore, Terry Vaughn, Pitts, and Danielson. I'm wondering how hard or easy is it to maintain the chemistry with all those great receivers?
Well, fortunately, every one of those guys they're very unselfish. You know, they definitely help each other out. It makes it difficult on defenses to focus on what we're going to do because we have so many weapons on the offensive side of the ball. We even have Kelvin Anderson coming out of the backfield and catching passes. So when you have guys like that, it's hard to keep everyone happy, but I think we've done a great job of spreading the wealth and, you know, having 3 1,000-yard receivers this year and potentially a 4th had Travis not gotten injured was a great situation for us. And Aubrey Cummings is a guy who has definitely come in and stepped it up, and when he gets the ball, he makes positive things happen. So I'm very fortunate, very lucky to have such a great group of receivers.
All right, Jeff, before you go, we did this for Danny Mac. Who's pulling for the Stamps tomorrow? Jeff, thanks a lot for coming on the Countdown Fan Club. All the best to you and the Stampeders in the 86th game tomorrow. Thanks a lot. Jeff Garcia, ladies and gentlemen, of the Calgary Stampeders. Up next, the second best play in the CFL this season.
It begins innocently enough. Danny McManus to slot back Mike Morreale in the Labor Day game against Toronto. 1, 2, 3 Argos surround Morreale, but the rangy receiver had other ideas. The pitch to Bobby Olive, and the play's alive. Olive, showing some nice patience, picks his way for 38 yards and the major. Watch this again as Morreale fights to get his arms free. And gets the ball to Olive, who manages to stay just in bounds, slipping away from the Argo defense for 6 points. The Ticats celebrate the #2 play of the year.
Well, the sky's beginning to clear at about 4:30 Saturday afternoon local time as we look live at downtown Winnipeg. Let's move out to the stadium, western portion of the city. Lights are on here at Winnipeg Stadium. There you see some blue sky. It'll be dark soon here in Winnipeg. Still to come, Chris Cuthbert, Pinball Clemens, the best ambassador this league's ever known, will join me live in the studio. Right now, let's return to Mark Lee and Chris Walden.
1, 2, 3. Hey. 1, 2, 3. Jump. Ready, ready.
From the Pyramid Club, a real nice establishment here in downtown Winnipeg. Still to come, the fan favorite, the player you, the fans, voted as the best this year in the CFL. And part 2, the second team of the Walby Warriors. You probably got a whole bunch more big guys who don't touch the ball. But what about Jeff Garcia? No quarterbacks in the first team.
Let me just tell you this. You know what? O-linemen are great. All you have to do is watch the second part. It'll explain itself.
All right, part 2, team 2 of the Walby Warriors.
Let's take a look at some real intensity. The defensive line. Starting off with the meanest warrior of 98, Joel Montford. Hey, if you're lining up against this guy, be afraid. Be very afraid. Montford is ferocious, virtually a one-man wrecking crew. He destroys what's in front of him, and boy, does he love to feast on quarterbacks. He led the league in sacks and forced fumbles, and if you're going to play against a guy like this, you better make sure that your helmet is strapped on tight. And what about Johnny Scott of the BC Lions? An offensive lineman's worst nightmare. He never takes a play off. He's always coming at you 100%. This guy's a real tough guy to block. And in this tough and dangerous job, Johnny Scott still has a way of making it look like fun. And now the last line of defense, the defensive backs. Donald Smith, he is the total package, a real student of the game. Hey, this guy combines intensity with intelligence. He loves to crunch anybody that's foolish enough to come into his territory. Smith prides himself on not getting beat. When quarterbacks challenge him, Donald Smith makes them pay. And what about Mario Smith of Saskatchewan? Here's an up-and-comer. Hey, I'm designating him a future warrior. This guy's impressed me with his fighting spirit, almost like his Street Fighter mentality. Mario shows everyone who plays this position that when it comes to making big defensive plays, size is not everything. And now the defensive demon on special teams, Dan Rasevich, a 15-year veteran. Hey, most guys his age are out in the garden, but Dan's still playing and still planting guys in the turf. He was second in the league in special teams tackles this year. Not only is he tough and does whatever is asked of him, but he's a leader, and he believes in the old school adage that action speaks louder than words. Let's talk about the linebackers, the quarterback of the defense. Hey, there's a lot of great linebackers in the CFL this year, but Calvin Tiggle convinced me with his play and leadership. Calvin was everywhere on the field. Hey, this guy will arm tackle you, but he'd rather look you eye to eye before he crushes you to the turf. He was second in the league in tackles this year, but more important than that, Calvin inspired his team with his physical and emotional play, which were huge factors in Hamilton getting to play in the '98 Grey Cup. And what about Mike O'Shea? Hey, game in, game out for my money. This is one guy you want on your side. Hey, not only is he smart and gutsy, this guy does it all. Linebacker, special teams, and he does it all giving 110%. This guy never leaves the field. Pain is second nature to him. The only way you're going to get Mike O'Shea out of a game is you have to carry him off the field on a stretcher. And that brings us to the marquee player, the brain trust, the quarterbacks. Hey, how about Jeff Garcia? Here's a guy who does it all. Throws the ball with the accuracy of a Roger Clemens, but what sets Jeff apart as a warrior is his fearless running style. When he takes off, watch out. He wants to get as much as he can, and he'll never hook slide. He wants to lower his shoulder and take you on mano a mano. Jeff reminds me of a young Matt Dunnigan. And my pick as the toughest warrior of 1998, Kerwin Bell of the Toronto Argonauts, who to me personifies what being a warrior is all about. Here's a guy that's a team leader. He plays hurt. He's got a great attitude. He's tough. And he also led the league in passing. But for me, the reason Bell makes it as a warrior is more than his skills. It's his heart. This man took an unbelievable amount of punishment, yet he stood his ground. He never complained, and he bounced back every time, more determined than ever. Kerwin Bell has that inner strength and intensity that only a true warrior can claim.
I got to tell you, I love that selection of Kerwin Bell. What did he take? 65, 85 sacks this year? Tough as nails.
Well, you know what? Here's a guy that does it all for the team. You don't hear a lot about him. You know, Daryl Mitchell, he's got a team of stars, Pinball, Mazzotti. I was really impressed with the way this guy played and his toughness. That is just, I mean, I tell you what, he was sacked 65 times. I guarantee you he was hit about 4 times more than that.
Takes a lot of punishment.
You can't make him leave the game.
All right, Bluto, both these teams in the Cup, the Cats and the Stamps, will be playing, what, their 22nd game of the season. It's a long road. Can you put into words what it takes to get that far?
Well, I think you all got to look at it. I think a lot of people, you know, I've talked to a lot of people on the street, and they all think that football's a game where we go out and throw the football, play a little catch, go home, have the dinner, go to sleep, do that kind of thing. But, you know, when you talk about training camp, where it all starts, 2-a-days, waking up 6 every morning, banging heads for 2.5 hours, having a couple hours between, going back out and do it again. You got your injuries, you got your grind. Then you lose your friends, your teammates get traded. You got all that kind of stuff, and of course the pressure on you, because nothing is guaranteed in the CFL. There are no guaranteed contracts. All this adds up, and as you said, 22 games later, if you're fortunate enough to make it to this game, that's why you see a lot of players enjoying it, soaking up the atmosphere this week. But I guarantee you, as it is tonight, they're fired up, they're trying to sleep, but they just can't right now.
How about the Cats? 16 losses last year. Ron Lancaster admitted they didn't think they'd be here at this time of year, and the Stampeders probably thought they would have won 4 or 5 cups in the 90s, and now with just one and a chance for a second, they're realizing just how dear they are. Still to come on Countdown Fan Club, we've got the Player of the Year as voted by the fans, but first, the man who was runner-up. Mr. Rough Rider. Donald Narcisse was made to wear the green and white of Saskatchewan. The versatile receiver completed his 12th season with the Roughies and once again was named to the CFL All-Star team, his 4th selection. With over 11,000 career yards and receptions for Saskatchewan, Narcisse has played in 2 Grey Cups, scoring a touchdown in the 1989 triumph over Hamilton. The number 2 fan favorite, Donald Narcisse.
Live shot of Winnipeg Stadium on this Saturday afternoon. Those seats on the left, that is the south end of the field. Those are the temporary seats that they were having trouble selling. As Scott Taylor pointed out, Winnipeg people aren't stupid. They said, no, we're not going to pay $124 a seat. They're now selling them 2 for $1. Pinball Clemens, Chris Cuthbert will join me in the studio at the other end of the stadium. Little white dots down there, that's our broadcast booth. But right now, once again, back to the Pyramid Cabaret in downtown Winnipeg. Mark Lee and Chris Walby.
Welcome back to the Countdown Fan Club in downtown Winnipeg, and now the moment we've been waiting for. The fan favorite, the player of the year as selected by you, the fans. And we had, Chris, tens of thousands of votes on our CFL on CBC website. It was a close race until this man broke the 2,000-yard barrier on the ground. He became the first CFL player to rush for over 2,000 yards in a season. The man who supplied the guts of the Alouette offense, Mike Pringle. The 31-year-old Los Angeles native made the CFL All-Star team for the 4th time, as well as leading the league in rushing for a 4th time. Pringle rolled up an amazing 14 games over 100 yards rushing this season, plus won in the playoffs to become the CFL's most outstanding player for the 2nd time. Mike Pringle, the number 1 fan favorite.
Ladies and gentlemen, football fans across Canada, as voted by you, your fan favorite, would you please welcome Mike Pringle?
Mike Pringle. Mike, first, congratulations on a phenomenal season. The first man in CFL history over 2,000 yards and 14 different 100-yard games plus in the CFL this season. Way to go.
Hey, big time. Now let's get over with the real good stuff, though. I don't know if, did you have a chance to watch the video? All right, sure. I'll tell you what, we are all impressed. I was very impressed with you. And you made the 1998 Wallaby Warrior team, and with that, we'd like to present you with a beautiful T-shirt. Oh, actually, it's a beautiful golf shirt.
All right. That's great.
And we got it. And we got it.
Thank you very much. I know it's hard to impress you, so I'm honored.
You know, as an offensive lineman, I love running backs.
Oh, definitely.
Listen, I also got a catalog, maybe some gift suggestions for the O-line that you're going to buy some stuff at home for.
Well, I took care of my guys on the line in Michael So's.
Did you really?
Yeah, definitely.
Would we be able to know what you got them?
Yeah, I got them leather jackets. Leather jackets with their names inscripted on the inside, and the year 1998, 2,000 yards.
Wow.
And something else.
Wow, that's phenomenal. That's phenomenal.
Mike, we got something else for you, a little token of appreciation from the CFL on CBC and all the fans across Canada voting you the best player in the league this year.
You know, I know Mike is holds this, and he loves all these awards, and he loves the recognition, but also talking to you on other occasions. I know that you're a man who, very humble for all the records and stuff you've done, and I know that you trade all this in a minute for a chance to hoist the big silver cup here. I mean, I want to ask you this question. I know it's a tough question. When Osbaldiston lined up last week to kick the 54-yarder, what was going through your mind? What were you doing?
Well, I was sitting in the dugout. I didn't even look at the kick. It was 10 seconds left in the game at that time, and at that point I went down in the dugout and I sat on the bench. But I heard him when he kicked it, and it was solid. And you pretty much can tell it was a large thump. And I just waited for the crowd's response, and you know, they cheered, and you know, that was a heartbreaker.
Okay. All right. I wanted to ask Mike about the 1,400-yard plus games, the 2,000 yards. It's a magical barrier. Only 5 guys in pro football have done it. What does that mean to you? What kind of an accomplishment is that for you?
That was big. That was something I have been trying to accomplish for a couple of years. For several years, I've got close a couple of times and been turned up shy. But when I eclipsed it, and to do it at home in front of the Montreal fans and to have my family there, it was the greatest feeling.
Well, you're marvelous to watch, and there's some fans out there with Bluto who'd like to ask you a few questions.
We got a question right here from Barry for you, Mike.
Well, first of all, Chris and I want to compliment you on your barber. And you've obviously had a great year. You're the fan favorite. You had a couple of records. Would you trade it all to be playing on Sunday?
Definitely. You know, you have your individual goals, and your individual goals are great, but football is a team sport, and I'm thankful for everything that I've accomplished this year, but I still have a hollow feeling, you know, right here, because, you know, we came so close and we're not here. And, you know, I just wanted to have my team. I always wanted to come to Winnipeg to be in this Grey Cup, but I wanted my teammates to be with me.
Chris, somebody else from the crowd.
We got another guy, Tim O'Shea.
So, Mike, my little boy's name's Benjamin, and he really doesn't like you because you've been kicking Blue Bombers' butt for the last number of years. But the B-man wanted to know that being a South, since Chris is retired, you got the reputation for being the toughest guy in the league. If you got a full head of steam going up through a hole and now 5 yards ahead of you, you got a defensive player there, and you know you're going to take a hit. Who would you least like to see at the end of that line? He thinks it's Joe Montford.
He thinks it's who?
Joe Montford.
He would be one of them, yeah. He would be one of them. There's a couple of them that I remember that hit, you know, extremely hard, and Montford is definitely one of them. O'Shea is another. Hitchcock's definitely.
Chris, where are you out there at the bar now? Chris Walby?
We got Troy Westwood's little bit bigger brother. And he wants to ask, Mike, you got a question for Mike?
Mikey, I want to know what you think about pinball.
Class act. If I had to say one thing about pinball, it would definitely be that. A class act, both on and off the field. Tremendous athlete, gives the team his all on every snap of the game, and I enjoy watching him play tremendously.
One more over here, and you are?
I'm April from Toronto, and I just wanted to know, are you married?
Yes, ma'am, I am. I've married 9 months now. I got married February 28th to my lovely wife, McKenya Pringle.
All right, Mike, thanks so much for coming on the Countdown Fan Club. Congratulations on your record-breaking year, and thanks so much for being a part of all the festivities in Winnipeg.
Thank you for having me.
Mike Pringle of the Montreal Alouettes. Stay with us. We're back to the Countdown Fan Club at the Pyramid Club of Winnipeg right after this.
It was born of royalty, crowned in glory, and has held court over some of the fiercest battles of all time. It has witnessed moments of greatness, noble men of courage undaunted in their quest for victory, It is a living testament to the spirit of our game.
Grey Cup Saturday on CBC. Brought to you by Adidas, proud partner of the CFL.
To the Countdown Fan Club in Winnipeg. Just before the big game, the 86th Grey Cup between Calgary and Hamilton. Chris, there were all kinds of great plays this year in the CFL, but just one stood above the rest. And so here it is, the #1 play of the year in the CFL, and it happened right here in Winnipeg. Eric Blunt has had longer returns, but surely none to top this effort. First, the weave mesmerizes the Stamps. Next, a couple of nice cutbacks. And then, heading for the sidelines, time for the coast. Into the end zone. 92 yards on the punt return for Eric Blunt, and the play of the year. There it is, Eric Blunt of the Bombers, who set the record for kickoff returns this year in the CFL. How about the big game tomorrow, big guy? We've got the young team from Hamilton, Paulus Balderson, the only remaining guy from that '89 Grey Cup, and all those veterans from Calgary who would dearly love to win it again.
Well, I tell you what, this is a great, great match. Anytime you have the first place team in the East playing the first place team in the West. But what I like for Hamilton, I mean, they're going to have their work cut out stopping the big receiving core of the Calgary Stampeders. But then the Stampeders have got to worry about the magic of Flutie and McManus. So I tell you what, this is going to be just a great game. And as they say in Las Vegas, let's get ready to rumble!
All right, good luck to the Cats and the Stampeders. Thanks to Mike Pringle, Jeff Garcia, Danny McManus. Thanks to the band, Pete Jordan and the Countdown Band. It's been a pleasure, big guy. Thanks a lot. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll see the fans tomorrow at 3:30 Eastern with Sunday's countdown to the 86th Grey Cup in Winnipeg. Thanks for watching, and let's throw it back to Brian Williams at the stadium.
How come we don't have a band? By the way, we do have a trophy in the foreground. You've seen it all afternoon. That is Mike Pringle's Outstanding Player Trophy, the Chrysler Trophy from Thursday night. Last player to win it before Pringle and, of course, Doug Flutie, fella that Pringle referred to as a class act on and off the field. Pinball Clemens joins me here in the studio. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Brian. Yes.
Now, I know you and Chris have a lot to talk about. Let me just throw this out to begin. Start the quarterbacks. And let's begin in the West, Jeff Garcia. You were talking during the commercial. He reminds you of a fella you played with on this field in 1991.
No doubt about it. He reminds me of Matt Dunnigan. He is a quarterback, right, with a linebacker's mentality. He's so aggressive. He takes a big hit, and you think that's going to, well, we get a hit on the quarterback, we can intimidate him a little bit. When he gets a hit, he loves it. He jumps up, and he gets more roaring into it, and sometimes he almost loses his control in terms of the offense, but that's okay, because when he loses control, he's at his best, because that's when he runs with the football. He can be really dangerous when he breaks outside containment.
Yeah, in some ways, he's a lot like another running back. And just to reinforce what Michael was saying, I think the play he was most proud of last week was an interception he threw, not because he threw an interception, but he nailed Malcolm Frank when he made the tackle on Frank when he was running upfield with the ball. And I think he knocked Frank out for a second or two. And that's the kind of guy Jeff Garcia is. He is a physical, emotional, wear-it-on-your-sleeve kind of guy.
Let me ask you both about defense. I mean, it will be nowhere near as cold as it was in 1991. In fact, it's a pleasant afternoon around. Freezing wind is a bit of a problem. Defense could play a role. Everyone talks about Hamilton. You say don't write off Calgary.
Well, they say offense win or sells tickets, but defense wins championships, and that's what this game is going to boil down to. But it's going to be more than that. The reason is that everyone's been talking about Joe Munford. They call him the monster on their team, and you see this guy's arms, and they're huge, and he led the league in sacks, the most valuable defensive player, and he is a reflection of the rest of that squad. They call themselves the Crazed Dogs, and I was talking to Kevin Tickle, and he said the Crazed Dogs are going to have rabies on Sunday, and so they have so much talk about those guys, but the guys on the other side of the football just quietly play good defense. And they have a veteran, experienced crew led by Alondra Johnson, the guy who was the runner-up to the Defensive Player of the Year, and they can really play defense. So don't count these guys out.
Chris?
Yeah, Calgary, no one talks about their defense, and yet they were number 2 right behind Hamilton in yards allowed this year. Nobody talks about Darryl Hall, but here's a guy that's been in the league since '92, except for 3 years with the Denver Broncos. Yes. Alondra Johnson took 10 years, really, for Alondra to get his due, and he was the runner-up to Montfort as top defensive player. He's not feeling very well, by the way, but Mike and I agree that probably won't matter tomorrow. He'll be at his best.
We just about have to go. Mike Pringle called you class. Speaking of class, it's a good description of the 2 head coaches. Chris, we've covered a lot of sports. Can you ever remember an event where both coaches were as well-spoken, were such good representatives as Ron Lancaster and Wally Buono?
I think we all left, the cynical media all left that coach's press conference, and we would have sat there and listened to those guys for another couple of hours. It's unbelievable to me that Wally Buono was asked last week prior to the Western Final that if he lost, did he think he might be out of a job as the head coach? This guy's won more games than anybody else in the 90s, and on the other side, Ron Lancaster knows more about the Canadian Football League than anybody else.
From both sides as a player and coach, yes.
All right. Put you to work. How do you see this game unfolding? I'm not asking for an exact prediction, but very quickly, how do you see it unfolding?
Well, I see the key being the weather and the wind and how each team manages it. We saw last week Montreal was terrible against the wind. If either one of those teams have that kind of problem, special teams, the wind, the weather, how they handle it, big in the outcome. And
as an extension to that, I think the team that runs the best when the wind is in their face is going to do the job tomorrow, too. By the way, Mark McLaughlin today and Paul Osbaldiston, the kicks into the wind were only about 25 yards.
We'll see you both tomorrow afternoon. A couple of big university football games as we go this afternoon. The Concordia Stingers have defeated the Acadia Axemen by a score of 24-23. The big upset, though, the Saskatchewan Huskies have defeated the University of Western Ontario Mustangs. Look at this in Saskatoon. Vanier Cup next Saturday in Toronto. Concordia versus Saskatchewan. Don't forget tonight, coming up in just over 30 minutes, it's Hockey Night in Canada. Flames in Ottawa for Montreal, Ottawa, Saskatchewan, BC, and Alberta. The Buffalo Sabres beat the Leafs last night in Buffalo. That game will be seen in Manitoba, Newfoundland, the Maritimes, Ontario, except Ottawa. Then the doubleheader game from the General Motors Place in Vancouver. It's the Red Wings and the Vancouver Canucks. And don't forget, tomorrow afternoon at 3:30 Eastern, I'm back with Countdown to Kickoff. You will hear from Rocket Ismail, Bruce McNall, Larry Rickman, Wayne Gretzky, Matt Dunigan, and Doug Flutie. 3:30 tomorrow afternoon. It's Countdown to Kickoff, followed by the kickoff at 5 Eastern, 4 Central. Now for Chris Cuthbert, Pinball Clemens, and our crew here in Winnipeg, production and technical this afternoon. There's Danny Mack and Jeff Garcia. They'll line up their teams tomorrow afternoon, the starting quarterbacks. For all of us in Winnipeg, I'm Brian Williams. So long from Winnipeg Stadium on this Saturday afternoon.